All right, everyone, welcome back to Training Thursdays. Again, this is Brianna Wilkerson. I'm host of the More Than Your Weight Women's community, where we do these trainings roughly every 12 p.m. Eastern every Thursday. Next week we won't be because we have a 5-day challenge. So whenever I do live challenges, I basically go live every day. So not going to do a separate training. But I am so excited that you are here. For those that are new to the group or are watching this on replay and are new to me, my name is Brianna Wilkerson. I am a holistic health and life coach. I am a woman that's on a mission to help other women find peace with food, feel confident in their bodies again, and develop healthy habits / lifestyle that's more than just about their weight, because we are just a weight-focused society, and I think your health and your worth is so much more than what you weigh. Okay, and so I have a podcast, the More Than Your Weight podcast, that has new episodes every Tuesday. And so typically what I do every Thursday is come in live and do a little replay, do a little bit more in depth on that particular topic or whatever topic we're talking about this month. And if you are not in the group and you're watching this on replay, or even if you're in the group and you're watching this, just to let you guys know that this Facebook group, the way that I operate it, it's very much like a paid membership, right? So if you've been a part of a paid online membership, there's a Facebook group, there's typically live streams, there's challenges, there's posts, there's just, there's so much, and this is free. And I really do that because I understand that, one, not everyone can invest in one-on-one coaching when they want to. I think, and I have a long conversation about this, but I do believe we need to invest money into our health, because where money flows, so does our actions, right? So money is an exchange of value at the end of the day. But I know that sometimes you just need a little bit of support, and this is a space where you can do that. So I have my Facebook group and my podcast and my email list is basically kind of the space where every week or even multiple times a week, you can expect some level of support. But I know, based on my own experience with one-on-one coaching and based on the hundreds of women I've helped through group and one-on-one coaching programs, true breakthrough, particularly when it comes to mindset and consistent habits, happens in one-on-one coaching. It just does. And it happens faster, and you feel heard, safe, empowered, and all those things. And so that is why I primarily have a one-on-one coaching practice, but I do have a group coming up in October that, if you're interested in that, that is the space. If you've been wanting to get some high touch coaching from me, this group program is going to be the space to do that. My boot camp, that was originally going to happen now, but I realized people are just getting back after summer, so I'm going to have it a little bit later in the beginning of October. And so I just love what I do. I just love hopping on calls with clients, and it's just such a privilege and honor to hear and see and be a part of the breakthroughs they have. But we're here, and this is part of that journey. And so if you have been considering one-on-one coaching or even group coaching, please reach out, because I only have a little bit limited amount of one-on-one spaces for the fall, and I'm actually filling those spaces now. And then obviously I have a limited group spaces for that program. So if you really want to work with me the rest of the year, this is the time. Just hop on the phone, no pressure, clarity call with me to help you just get clear on whether or not I'm a great fit. We both can just talk about that. There's no pressure, even after you're like, maybe just not now, or maybe I'm not. Totally fine. So if you're interested in that, book a clarity call. You can go to madewell345.com/clarity. I'll make sure to put it here as well. But for now, let's continue on with this training, talking about creating a sustainable meal planning and fitness routine. Why am I combining them together? So originally this month, the challenge was going to be around meal planning and movement. But even as I started thinking about it more, I really wanted to focus on one. And so the challenge I'm doing is around menu planning, but there's 2 podcast episodes that one just came out, one coming next week, around fitness. So I'm still trying to give you a little bit of support around those 2 areas, because meal planning and movement are 2 of the primary habits that you need, and I think you need to have a healthy lifestyle. There aren't the only ones. There's a lot of other ones. And you guys know I talk about that: stress, sleep, digestion, toxic load, and mindset. But particularly, I wanted to focus on those 2 in some way. So the podcasts have a mixture of both. This particular training will have a mixture of both, but I'm going to do specifically a menu planning challenge. I'll talk to you a little bit more about why you should do that, because I think it's going to be amazing. I've been prepping for it. But today we're talking about both. We're talking about 3 steps to creating sustainable meal planning and movement routine. And actually the steps are the same for both of them. Because listen, we all know what we need to do, but we're not doing it. Like, why is that? Like, why do we know what we need to do and we don't do it? There's another podcast episode coming out this week about that. Not this week, this month. But I think it's because sometimes there are so many things. There's mindset blocks. There's things that, we either tell ourselves like it needs to be more complicated than it is, or there's just feelings and emotions and thoughts centered around that particular habit. Sometimes though, it's just that we don't have a routine, and sometimes we don't have support. So today what we're going to talk about is routine, right? Creating a habit. A habit is something that you repeatedly do, kind of on autopilot after a while. It's like, I don't want to say subconscious. Well, it's a thing you don't really think about. Like, think about when you're driving home. If you take a normal route, you're actually most of the time not thinking about it. You're just like on autopilot. So I want you to create an autopilot habit and routine for meal planning and movement. And it takes a while to create a consistent routine. It takes a while to find a routine that works for you and create a habit out of it, right? But what we're going to talk about today is 3 steps that you can apply to either or. Now, if you are thinking like, okay, I can't do both at one time, it's just too much for me, just pick, hey, I'm going to do this for meal planning, or then, hey, I'm going to do this for movement. Or if you're like, I just want to do this for both, because actually you can plan both at the same time. All right, so let's dive on it. And if you're on live or watching the replay, let me know you're here. Let me know in the comments. You can say #replay, #live, and I can just interact with you as I go through this. But then also, if you watch the replay, I will, and you comment, whether on my website or YouTube or wherever, I will be obviously able to respond afterwards. Okay, so the first step, number 1, numero uno, when you are trying to create a routine is to plan. Plan to plan. And we'll talk about this next week in the menu planning challenge. But I think I do this, and I'll get to kind of how I do this process, but I kind of do this daily or weekly, kind of on autopilot, because it's just a routine for me now. But when you're first starting to want to basically block out time or create a routine around meal planning and movement, you need to literally block out time on your calendar each week to plan when all that's going to happen and what you're going to do. I like to suggest Sundays. Sundays is a time typically I'll get my handy dandy planner. I'll look at the meetings that I have scheduled for the week. I have like a weekly spread is what I call it. Write down the meetings, when I want to do the gym, and what time, what meals we're going to make, who's going to cook them, are we going to go out, all those sort of things, and I put it all on here. So I recommend Sundays and blocking out 30 minutes, and you can do this, maybe you're a morning person, or maybe you like to do this right before you watch your evening show. I was talking to a client yesterday who her and her husband would just watch a show most nights, and that's the way they connect, that's the way they unwind. And I really just said, we came up with a plan for her, just like take 5 minutes before you do that show to figure out what you're going to eat for lunch the next day, because lunch was the main sticky point for her, right? And it's the same thing with you. Like, maybe you need to do this daily, but maybe for you, I actually honestly think when you're starting, it's best to do this weekly and then address it, like look at it each day and say, do I need to adjust? So block out 30 minutes on your calendar on a Sunday. That's my recommendation. And then now we're going to look at meals and exercise. So let's just first think about meals. When you're looking at your weekly calendar, I think start with a paper, and I have like a template that I actually give my clients, but you could just go get a weekly spread from Google. But if you do work with me, you have a template. But look at your weekly, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Block out what days are we gonna eat, like we're busy and we need to eat out. That's important, because you're not gonna want to buy meals to cook if you aren't going to cook them that day or cook them at all that week, because life happens. Right? I do not cook every meal at home. That's okay. If you do, great. But I also know where to go to get those things if I need them, right? So mark down which days you're going to eat out and which days you're going to cook in, right? Which day is going to eat out, cook in. So if you're like busy Tuesday, Thursdays, maybe those days you order in, or you basically eat out, or maybe those days you want to make sure you have leftovers, whatever, right? Just What days are you going to cook? What days are you going to potentially eat out or need to eat leftovers? Write that down. And then you're going to figure out, okay, well, what would I like to make on those particular days that I'm cooking? And I really suggest having go-to meals for this. You know, like if you're like very busy and you're just like, I don't want to try a new meal, I don't want to try a new recipe, write down some go-to meals. Like we have a lot of go-to meals that we just eat on repeat. Like there are days where weeks that we're like, what are we gonna eat? Just get the staples that we like and we'll mix and match something, right? But if you're not as comfortable, just pick some meals you start with, or pick 1 or 2 recipes you want to try, right? Maybe your goal is I want to try 1 new recipe a week or every other week. Well, then you're going to put that on the day you're cooking it, right? And then the days you don't, you know, you might need to eat out or order in or need to eat leftovers. Like, what will that be? Will you want to double your recipe from the night before? Or are you going to order chicken? Are you going to order Fresh Kitchen? Are you going to order Chipotle? Whatever, like, what are you going to order from them and what? So that when that comes, when that day comes, you're not just scrambling, you know what to do, okay? So for your meal planning on Sunday, when you figure out what you're going to cook, what days you're going to cook, what you're going to make on those days, and then what days you're going to eat out and where you're going to get it from and what you're going to order. So it's just going to be simple. Obviously, things can adjust. Maybe you say you wanted to cook meatloaf on Tuesday, but actually when Tuesday comes, you want to cook chicken salsa chicken, whatever. Just adjust, but at least you have the stuff in your fridge, right? And then when it comes to exercise, similar thing. Mark down when and what days you want to exercise and for how long and what you're going to do. So if it's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you want to start with that routine. You're going to do 10 minutes, 30 minutes right after work. And what are you going to do? You're going to go walking. Again, we can adjust and be adaptable, but just have a plan, because if you have a plan, I'm telling you, you're more likely to do it and make it a habit. And another thing is that you need to start treating that time to cook or that time to exercise as a meeting, as a work meeting, as something that you are most likely not going to cancel, right? Now, if things happen and adjust, that's fine. But like, say for me and my husband, we've been on vacation here in our old home, Cayman, and we've been going to the gym. I'll work out so he'll watch our baby, and then he'll work out and I'll watch the baby. But because of that, we need to have more time to go do that. So I'll typically work out at 4, he'll work out at 4:45, and we've been trying to see people and do different things. And so literally from 4 to 5:30, we're like, that's what we're doing. We're doing exercise, and we'll schedule stuff before or after with people, because that is a meeting to us. It's very important for us. Now, yes, yesterday maybe we saw a friend and we were like, oh, it's fine. It's Wednesday, it's fine. But we ended up still being able to go later because my daughter took a nap and family was able to watch her and we were able to do it together, right? But I'm just telling you, if we didn't, it would be okay. But more likely, we're more likely to work out when we blocked out in our calendar, like this is where we're going to do it. And meals, the exact same thing. Okay, so step 1 is to sit down and plan 30 minutes each Sunday, right? When you are going, just 30 minutes in general, but like when you're going to eat out, cook in, what you need, what you're going to make those days, when you're going to exercise, what you're going to do. And again, start with everything that you know for these. Start with meals you know. Start with exercises you love and enjoy. Don't try to add in too much if you haven't created a habit around it, right? Just start with what you know and love for your meals and exercise. All right, 2 is to prepare for when you're going to do those things. And I like to prepare the night before or morning of. So for example, for your meals, do you need to take out, if you cook with meat, do you need to take out frozen meat so it can thaw? And when are you going to take that out? Are you going to put food in the crock pot so your food can cook all day and you come home when it's done? What do you need to do to prep for that? Do you need to do something the night before? Do you need to do something the morning of? Or are you like a bulk meal prepper and you're just going to pick one day where you can bulk all your veggies and cook all your veggies, chop all your veggies, do all these things? What is that for you? And then even with exercise, do you need to pick out your clothes from the night before because you're going to exercise right in the morning? And if you have to stumble around in the middle of the morning to get your clothes, you're just going to do it. Or do you need to like sleep in your exercise clothes? Or do you need to like make sure you pack them? Or maybe you pack your exercise clothes for a week and put them in your car so you can go to the gym after work. Like, what sort of preparation do you need to do so that when the day comes for you to cook that meal, order that meal, or exercise, that it's easy for you to do that habit? James Clear of the Atomic Habits book, fabulous book, but talks a lot about this. When you're trying to create a new habit, a new routine, you want to make it as attractive and simple and easy and rewarding to do as possible. So preparing for that will help. Okay, so step one is to plan, block out 30 minutes each Sunday, plan in that way around your meals, exercise, when you're going to eat out, when you're going to cook, when you're going to exercise, what you're going to do. And then the night before, number two is, or morning of, is to prepare, take out your clothes, take out the food, whatever you need to do. Make sure childcare is secure, whatever. And then three, this is when you come back to Sunday. Well, one, okay, plan, prepare, then you actually need to do it, right? But we planned and prepared, you actually need to do it. But then step three is the first portion of that reflection on Sunday. I really want you, that meeting, your planning meeting on Sunday, maybe take 5 to 10 minutes to reflect. This is something that I love helping my clients do, something I do every day, sometimes twice a day, morning and evening, but definitely every week, is reflect. And you want to ask yourself 3 simple questions. And we do this I do this here in the Facebook group, on Instagram, is called like Friday reflection. But I think you could do it Friday or you could do it Sunday as a part of that 30-minute block. But what went well and why? Now, why we start with this is so often as individuals, we are looking at what went wrong and what we didn't do. And that is not positive reinforcement. We want to reinforce and affirm ourselves for the things we did do, the things we did try, even if it didn't go as well, right? So what went well and why? If you exercise once, great. Why did that happen? What, did you plan? Did you prepare? What aligned for you to be able to do that? Did you cook once? Like, what happened? Why was that easy for you? Why did you do it? So what went well and why? And we want to celebrate that, because that is something that just shows you're taking one small step towards the health and life and routines that you want. This is something that we do. I often do with my one-on-one clients, but this is definitely something we're doing in my boot camp coming up. Trust me, because, when I ask my clients this question almost every week, but yes, when we reflect on what we did well and why, my gosh, it boosts our belief in ourselves and our belief in to create the reality and health that we want. Okay. Number 2, so what went well and why? What didn't go so well and why? Don't be afraid of this question. Be honest with this one too. Just what didn't go so well. You know what? I didn't cook the meals, even though I didn't cook all the meals. I only made food once. Well, why was that? You know what? It came time and I just didn't feel like it. Okay. And then we'll get to number 3, but okay, that's how it was. Or my daughter was teething a lot and I just didn't have the energy around to do it. Okay. So what didn't go so well and why? This is important, because versus just like, I didn't do this, and you start beating yourself up. There may have been an external reason, there may have been an internal reason. Okay. But then question 3 is basically where you're going to take stuff from number 1 and 2 to improve next week. So what can you do to make next week even better? So number 1, what went well and why? 2, what didn't go so well and why? And then 3, what can you do to make next week even better? And I phrase it that way because I still think this week went well, even if we didn't, something went well and something didn't go so well. So how are we going to continue to do what went well and improve what didn't go so well and make next week better? And so say for this week, if I only exercised twice and I wanted to 3 times, well, what do I need to do? Do I need to adjust that 3rd day? Because really it's just too busy of a day and I just can't fit it in. Do I need to make sure I don't schedule as many things that day? Like, what do I need to do so next week my goal can happen, right? Is it that I need to reach out for support from my coach, from a group, because I really feel like accountability is something I'm lacking? Is it because there's a mindset block? Whatever it is, just what can make next week better? All right. So let's review the steps. And then I would love for you to tell me, I think going through all 3 of these steps are very important, but maybe there's one of these that you kind of do some of the other stuff, but there's one of these that you're like, or something I said that just was like, my goodness, if I can implement this, I know that my meal planning or my movement, my exercise routine would be so much better and sustainable. Let me know that in the comments, because I love doing these trainings. I love teaching you things, giving you information, but you need to apply it. And the only way you're going to do that is by sharing it and being held accountable. So number 1, create a time, I think on Sundays is best, 30 minutes blocked out in your calendar to plan what you're gonna, when you're gonna cook, when you're gonna eat out or order in, when you're gonna exercise, what you're gonna do, and what you're gonna cook, right? Put it on the calendar. Then you could do paper or Google, whatever you do. Then prepare night before, morning of, what do you need to do to make it cook that meal or exercise happen? How do you need to prepare? Childcare, laying out your clothes, taking your clothes with you, taking out your meat, putting the food in crock pot, chopping your veggies beforehand, bulk prepping, whatever you need to do. And then 3, take some time when you're coming back to the next week to reflect on what went well, what didn't go so well, and what can you do to make next week even better? What went well and why? What didn't go so well and why? And what can you do to make next week even better? This process, I'm telling you, is going to really help you create a sustainable routine for yourself. Again, you can just start with doing this with meal planning. You can just start doing this with movement or both. But I really think when you start to just be very intentional with planning, preparing, doing, and reflecting, you will start to see major change in your health. I was talking with someone this week who, is very knowledgeable. And then maybe this is you, you're very knowledgeable in what you need to do to take care of yourself. But there just seems to be a block. Maybe it's one of these steps is that freeing breakthrough for you. Or maybe it's that you need accountability. Maybe it's that you need support. Maybe it's that you need mindset work, right? Whatever you need to make your health a priority and just finally find freedom, you need to get it. If that's coaching, get it. From me or from someone else. If that's listening to podcasts more regularly, if that's reading a book, if that's like whatever it is, get the support you need, because now is the time. More than ever, we know and we see how important it is to take care of ourselves. Yes, there are things outside of our control. There are things that are going to happen to us or happen to people we love with our health that we just can't control. But there are a lot of things you can control and prevent. And it is up to you, not your mom, not your dad, not your husband, not your kids, and no one else, but you, to take care of yourself. We've seen a rise in self-care, right? We've seen people say, take care of yourself, take care of yourself. This shouldn't be something we should have to preach, because we should have always been doing this. But as women, as caregivers, as people who love serving and making sure other people are taken care of, especially as moms, we are constantly thinking, yes, there are times where I need to put my daughter's sleep above my own, her food above myself. But let me tell you, the only way, and I had someone tell me, you look really happy and joyful and healthy. Well, the only way I've had to do is I've put my health actually very much first. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, I'm not afraid to ask for support, because I know what my life was like when I wasn't asking for support. I was struggling with my relationship with food. I was barely eating, barely exercising. Then on the other end of the spectrum, I was stressed, eating all the time, emotional eating, and I just was trying to fix it all on my own. And for me, I knew what kind of support I needed, and I got it. And I really encourage you, you need to get the support you need, whether it's using this Facebook group more often to post and share and engage, whether it's watching these trainings, whether live or replay, whether it's listening to my podcast, whether it's doing my challenges. I've given you so many free options. And so I really want to encourage you, like there are tons of options out there, a lot of free stuff and paid stuff. But if you're like, I want to sift through the noise, I know all the things I need to do, but I don't know what it needs to apply to me, then you need to book a call with me, or you need to book a call with some coach, because let's just help you figure out what you uniquely need to do, okay? So let me know from the 3 steps I mentioned or something from this training, what is one thing that you are going to try to apply this week to create a sustainable meal planning and exercise routine for yourself? Again, you can listen to episode 174 and 175 of the podcast, the More Than Your Weight podcast. I talked about 5 tips to make meal planning easier. I also then this week talked about creating a sustainable routine with Carolina Stone. But you can also join my meal planning challenge next week if that is something you really want to get detailed steps around on how to create a routine. Okay. And then, of course, sweet friends, if you are like, I think I need more support. Brianna, I have read everything, or I know what I need to do, but there's just something blocking me from implementing it. I just think there are things I need to work on. I have one-on-one spots available, and I also have a group program coming up. So just book a clarity call. That's why I call it a clarity call. It's because it's for you and I to get clear if my program's a great fit for you in this season, right? And so again, find a spot on my calendar in the next couple of weeks, and I would love to just chat with you. All right, kind of preached to you a little bit there, but I really, really want to encourage you to just get the support you need. Hey, Lori, I see that Lori's on live. Lori, great to have you. Feel free to let us know in the comments too, Lori, if there's anything that you're taking away from today, any step that you're trying to implement. But just really grateful for you all and grateful for this group. A lot of women have joined us in the last month, and it is an honor and privilege that you guys would allow me to serve you, whether it's through my emails, through the podcast, through training, and even one-on-one and coaching. So reach out if you have any questions. I will see you all next week for the 5-day menu planning challenge. We start on Monday. Be sure to sign up if you haven't yet. madewell345.com/menu planning challenge. If you're interested in getting one-on-one support, book that free call, madewell345.com/clarity, and let this be the month where you really decide to create healthy routines for yourself that support you and help you reach your health goals. Okay? Let me know if you have any other questions or thoughts in the comments, and I will answer when I can. All right, bye.